Okay, we just talked to Urban Meyer for the kickoff of Michigan Week here at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center in Columbus, Ohio. Tim Bielik, Bill Landis, Doug Lesmerises. Urban Meyer said you can't save stuff for the Michigan game anymore. They have a Michigan period of practice every day. They talk about this game all the time. But do you think, Bill Landis, that there is something in their back pocket that they plan to save for Michigan, whether it's a look, a formation, an actual trick play? Or do you believe Urban Meyer when he says, no, you can't do it?
I mostly believe him. He's not a huge gadget trick play coach. They kind of do what they do. We've seen different wrinkles in the offense this year. And they did some different stuff last week against Illinois, some different stuff with the H-backs. I think everything we've seen is what Ohio State's going to bring into Ann Arbor. The one thing that might give me a little pause is that Kevin Wilson in his past has done some funky stuff. But he did it when he was at a talent disadvantage, and they're not going to be at a talent disadvantage. I think they're just going to line up and try to run it down Michigan's throat. So, no, I don't think they've held anything back, and I don't think you're going to see anything crazy against Michigan.
Tim, do you believe it? Do you think they got something in store?
I just believe Urban Meyer's got a good poker face. I mean, it's Michigan week. You just said it. They have a period in practice every single day dedicated to this game. Urban Meyer talked that they don't just film study for this game. They didn't start the study on Sunday. They've started it weeks in the past. There's always some wrinkle for the game. And for anybody that says there isn't, I'll point you to USC-UCLA Saturday night. USC ran a trick play on a punt and scored a touchdown against a 5-5 UCLA team. If they can do that against a 5-1 UCLA team, then there's no reason to think that Urban Meyer doesn't have something in his bag of tricks for Saturday. You usually see something funky in this game every year. I think we get something.
I don't know. I can't think of anything funky Urban's done, though. Do you think he's done something funky? If you say that we usually get something funky every year, I don't know what it would have been in the Urban Meyer era.
Well, I would also argue, what about the double reverse pass against Alabama? That was pretty funky. They ran an end around against Penn State on a 2-point conversion and a reverse against Illinois. There could be a situation where somehow Paris Campbell gets it on the reverse and he decides to throw it. They've shown what the reverse looks like. We saw that on Saturday, and they broke it for a massive gain. Maybe there's something they could build off that as far as like a pop pass or even a deep throw by Paris Campbell.
The one thing I think, the thing that I always think of when I think about saving something for the Michigan game is the year, and you guys will know better than me, it's the year that Jim Tressel lined up Ted Ginn Jr. at tight end and threw him a touchdown pass. And that was saved. That was a Michigan game play. Now, I do think there's a difference between, like, everybody has something in their playbook, and it's like, when might we use it? When might we use it? That was the case, I think, with the Alabama game. They had tried that earlier in the year, I think, with Jalen Marshall throwing it and didn't quite work, or he didn't throw it. So there's that, but I do think there's part of the lore that people think like there's a separate like playbook for Michigan, and that there's when they do this separate, when they have the Michigan period practice, that's like the practice things that they aren't going to do. To me, it's not even about trick plays. It's about, is there just almost like a different way you play? Because like, well, this might have worked against Indiana, but we don't want to waste it. We're saving it for Michigan. When Urban Meyer says, no, you can't do that anymore, that's where I believe him. That I think, like, we were waiting for Braxton Miller to throw the ball in 2015. It was like, well, maybe they're saving it all year for Michigan. No, they weren't. They weren't. Because if they would have needed it, they would have used it earlier. Because there's no point in saving it for Michigan and losing 3 games along the way, Now, the other thing is, last year was crazy, and they needed everything they could muster last year. But like in 2015, they didn't need anything. And like a lot of the years that Urban Meyer's been here, they didn't need any extra stuff to beat Michigan. So, but I do believe Urban Meyer when he says it's not like it would have been in the Woody days or Earl days when you're kicking everybody's butt every week to the extent that, yeah, it's like, yeah, we have a separate Michigan game plan because that's when it really matters. We don't change our game plan. Well, we changed a little bit. It's Thanksgiving on Thursday, and you guys don't read stories on Thursday, so we change our game plan a little bit this week. But we'll have a lot of stuff coming. Thanks for reading. Thanks for watching at cleveland.com.